The Lantern Keeper. The town of Draymore clung to the jagged cliffs of the western shore, where the sea raged against the land in endless fury. Fishermen and merchants thrived by day, but none dared set sail under the night's shroud. For when the moon vanished and the stars stood alone, dark things stirred beneath the waves, things only kept at bay by the light of the Elderglow lantern. For generations, the lantern had burned atop the lighthouse at the cliff's edge, never once allowed to fade. It was Elira, the last of the keepers, who watched over it, tending the sacred flame as her mother and grandmother had before her. Legends whispered that the lantern's fire was not ordinary light, but something far older, gifted by the gods to protect the mortal world from what lurked beyond. Elira had never doubted its power, nor the duty placed upon her. But one fateful night, as a violent storm howled through the town, she climbed the lighthouse stairs to find the flame flickering weakly, on the verge of extinguishing. Her heart pounded. The lantern had never dimmed before. She rushed to the oil reserves, hands shaking, only to find the sacred oil nearly depleted. The Elderglow lantern could not be fed by ordinary oil. It required the essence of moonfire, harvested only from the rare silver kelp that grew in the deep trenches far beyond the shore. Without it, the flame would die, and the horrors of the abyss would rise. Elira had no choice. As the storm raged overhead, she grabbed her cloak, her fishing spear, and a glass vial, setting out into the night. The townsfolk would never approve. No one risked the sea under a moonless sky. But she was the keeper, and if she failed, there would be no town left to scold her. She took a small boat and rowed beyond the shallows, her hands numb from the cold spray of the waves. Lightning flashed across the sky, revealing the roiling sea, the jagged rocks, and something else. Something moving beneath the water. A vast shadow circled below. Elira gritted her teeth and steered toward the kelp beds. The silver kelp swayed beneath the waves, glowing faintly even in the abyss. She secured a rope around herself and dove. The water was freezing, but she pushed downward, cutting away strands of the sacred plant and stuffing them into her satchel. Her lungs burned, but as she turned to ascend, the water shifted around her. She was not alone. A shape loomed ahead, a towering figure with inky skin and luminous eyes, its form wreathed in writhing tendrils. It was a deep one, an ancient being of the abyss. Its gaze locked onto hers, unblinking, knowing. Elira kicked off the sea floor, desperate to reach the surface. The deep one did not pursue, it only watched. She broke through the waves, gasping for air, and scrambled back into her boat. The storm had worsened. The lighthouse stood distant, its light now dangerously dim. She rowed with every ounce of strength she had, feeling the weight of unseen things moving in the water beside her. The moment she reached the cliffs, she bolted up the lighthouse steps, wind whipping at her soaked clothes. With shaking hands, she pressed the silver kelp into the lantern's basin, whispering the ancient rites as she struck the flint. For a terrifying heartbeat, nothing happened. The lantern blazed back to life, casting its radiant glow over the cliffs and ocean. The darkness recoiled. From below, she heard distant, terrible screeches, creatures slithering back into the depths, denied their prey once more. The storm slowly began to ease. Elira collapsed against the stone railing, exhausted but victorious. She had done her duty. The town would be safe for another night. But as she gazed out at the dark sea, she could not shake the feeling that the deep one was still down there, watching, waiting, and that, one day, the lantern's light might not be enough.